All right, you guys. So Ryan Reynolds obviously has to be deported back to Canada. Once again, this is a way for the left and the right to come together because no matter where you stand on the topic of mass deportations of illegals, we can now all agree that the moral crimes committed here by Ryan Reynolds against Justin Baldoni have amounted to high treason. After having read through the amended lawsuit, Ryan absolutely must go home, and I have got some major scoops.
For over 3 decades, Ryan Reynolds built the ultimate nice guy persona in Hollywood. From his early days as a teenage soap opera heartthrob to becoming the charismatic face of blockbuster hits like Deadpool, Reynolds has carefully maintained a flawless public image. He's the guy everyone wants to be friends with. Funny, charming, relatable, and endlessly generous. This is the man who casually donated $1 million to Ukrainian refugees, whose heartwarming venture with Wrexham Football Club had fans dubbing him the real-life Ted Lasso. He didn't just play the role of Mr. Nice Guy. He was Hollywood's golden boy. But after decades of meticulous image crafting, Reynolds' pristine reputation is crashing down spectacularly, all thanks to his wife, Blake Lively, and her explosive feud with Justin Baldoni. Yes, Blake Lively, the former Gossip Girl queen of drama, has now pulled her husband into one of Hollywood's nastiest legal battles.
It was Ryan Reynolds. This was their strategy. And now they kind of want to put the genie back in the bottle. But guess what? The genie does not want to go back in the bottle. The genie likes to be free, okay? And we're now all paying attention. So I'm just going to very quickly, before I give you all of the tea that I got over the weekend, I'm going to go over the biggest revelations from the filing. And I guess we'll just start with revelation number 1, which was that we were totally correct about Ryan Reynolds.
Suddenly, Reynolds isn't the lovable, funny man anymore. Instead, he's being painted as a co-conspirator. In a ruthless plot to destroy Baldoni's career, hijack his movie, and smear his name across every tabloid. Sounds insane, right? That's exactly how it felt when news broke of Reynolds' deep involvement in this scandal. But here's what you need to know. This story goes much deeper. If this channel is new to you, please subscribe for more exciting news. In the past few months alone, Reynolds has gone from Hollywood's sweetheart to an alleged puppet master, accused by Baldoni of orchestrating a media-driven takedown to cancel him completely. Secret meetings at Reynolds' swanky Manhattan mansion. Checked subtle, menacing threats delivered with that signature cheeky smile. Checksion. Everything started when Reynolds decided to stroll onto the movie set and casually review the dailies. But now that the truth is spiraling out of control, Hollywood's golden couple is scrambling to fix the mess. And in his desperate attempt to salvage his sinking reputation, Reynolds just made things a whole lot worse. How? By staging a paparazzi stunt so painfully obvious, it backfired instantly. Yep, you heard that right. His team allegedly arranged fake autograph sessions with paid autograph grafters disguised as fans, just to keep the Mr. Nice Guy narrative alive. But here's the kicker. It was so embarrassingly transparent that even die-hard fans were left cringing harder than a bad rom-com faking fans? Fooling the public? That was the tipping point. And guess what? Nobody is buying the BS anymore. Today, we're diving deep into this shocking scandal, breaking down every dirty detail, from the orchestrated paparazzi setups to Ryan's desperate damage control and Blake's reckless ambition, which just might drag them both down permanently. Buckle up, because Hollywood's nicest guy might just be its next public enemy number 1. And you won't believe how fast and how hard he's falling.
He was either reading her text messages, reading through the dailies, reading through the script, and he just decided, okay, you know what? This entire production needs to be halted. I don't trust my wife, okay? And my strongest inclination for that was the fact that on the day that the SAG-AFTRA strike ended, on the day that both of them had to go back to work, meaning Ryan had to go back to film for Wolverine and Deadpool, Wayfarer gets that shocking email of demands, and basically their production gets suspended while Ryan gets to go in the UK and feel confident knowing that she's not going to see Justin Baldoni until he's back. That was just my speculation. Well, in the recent filing, we can now see that Ryan was panicked in general about him being apart from Blake Lively, so much so that when they first communicated with one another, okay, so this is the first time that Ryan Reynolds and Justin Baldoni are speaking to one another, and they're exchanging text messages, and Justin Baldoni does this thing where he's just like so nice. and was like, he literally, to sum it up, because I'm not going to read Justin's entire text, he basically is like, I was nervous to even text you. I'm such a fan of you. Like, you're so great. You're amazing. Your wife's amazing. And then says this like really almost first day of middle school kind of thing where he's like, all of this to say, I know I sound ridiculous, but like, I just really want to be friends with you. Like, he literally tells Ryan he wants to be friends with you. And I can just see Ryan sitting there like, yes, this is exactly what I want, a puppy to kick in the mouth. And you'll do what I say.
Just months ago, Ryan Reynolds was at the peak of his career, draped in accolades, and even receiving Canada's highest civilian honor, the Officer of the Order of Canada. The world saw him as Hollywood's golden boy, the guy everyone adored, the man who could do no wrong. His carefully curated, nice guy persona had the public hooked, believing every bit of his charm, humor, and generosity.
Even text you, I'm such a fan of you. Like, you're so great. You're amazing. Your wife's amazing. And then says this like really almost first day of middle school kind of thing where he's like, all of this to say, I know I sound ridiculous, but like, I just really want to be friends with you. Like, he literally tells Ryan he wants to be friends with you. And I can just see Ryan sitting there like, yes, this is exactly what I want, a puppy.
But now, that golden reputation is in freefall, crashing headfirst into one of Hollywood's ugliest scandals. It started as just another Hollywood feud. Blake Lively, Ryan's ever-glamorous wife, at odds with director Justin Baldoni over a high-stakes movie project. At first, Reynolds appeared to be just a supportive husband standing by her side. But as the dust settled, it became clear that he wasn't just watching from the sidelines. He was orchestrating the entire spectacle. The man once hailed as Hollywood's most likable star was now being accused of engineering a takedown so ruthless it could put scripted dramas to shame. Reports began surfacing about private meetings in Reynolds' luxurious Manhattan mansion, where, behind closed doors, he allegedly made menacing yet calculated threats, all while flashing that signature cheeky smile. Then came the bombshell lawsuit in December. Lively accused Baldoni of sexual harassment, retaliation, and a smear campaign against her. The lawsuit was explosive, packed with over 150 pages of damning allegations. The media went into a frenzy. But Baldoni didn't just sit back. He hit back hard with a staggering $400 million counter-lawsuit that sent shockwaves through the industry. Baldoni's suit didn't just defend his name. It pulled Ryan Reynolds directly into the battlefield. According to Baldoni, Reynolds wasn't just backing Lively, he was actively working behind the scenes to take him down and hijack the entire film project. And here's the twist. Baldoni idolized Reynolds. He admired his Hollywood success so much that when Reynolds asked to shift the movie's production dates to fit his schedule, Baldoni immediately agreed. Think about that for a second. The guy bent over backwards to accommodate Reynolds, and what did he get in return? Alleged career sabotage. As Baldoni's accusations mounted, a disturbing picture emerged. Reynolds, known for his charm and wit, was now being painted as a cold, calculating power player, pulling strings behind the scenes, pressuring industry insiders, and manipulating the media narrative. The nice guy mask was slipping, and Hollywood was watching closely. And then came the most bizarre revelation of all, a hidden dig at Baldoni tucked inside a Deadpool scene.
And I guess you've already met Mary Poppins, a.k.a. Dogpool. Careful where you put your hand. She's 90% G-spot, and she'll let you know it. You let this little flirt out of your sight for 1 second, and she starts shopping for a new papa. If you can't be a responsible pet owner, then maybe you don't deserve this little unicorn. Guilty on all charges, Your Honor. It shan't happen again.
Yes, you read that right. Eagle-eyed fans and insiders dissected the scene, and the implications were jaw-dropping. The scene was so pointed, detailed, and precise that it seemed far too intentional to be a coincidence. Was Reynolds using his blockbuster franchise to mock and undermine Baldoni publicly? If that wasn't shocking enough, he didn't stop there. After.
Is funny. Nothing in this scene makes sense. Why is he alleging that his wife is trying to place him in a skit which is promoting domestic violence? Why is his mom here and Hugh Jackman? And why do I feel like threatened somehow when I listen to this script?
Securing control of the movie project, Reynolds began slipping even more not-so-subtle jabs at Baldoni into his promotional skits. Suddenly, his humor didn't seem so harmless anymore. It wasn't just about playing the funny guy. It was about sending a message. The cracks in Reynolds' image were now impossible to ignore. Was he ever really the nice guy the world thought he was? Or was this just the latest unveiling of Hollywood's most well-crafted illusion? One thing was certain, this scandal was far from over.
Well, it's not every day the mother-in-law of the leading lady gets to interview the love interest and the man trying to replace my sweet little gummy bear, Ryan. Let's dive in, shall we? I don't feel very comfortable asking this question.
Nope.
And Reynolds' fall from grace was only beginning. Stay tuned, because this story is unraveling faster than anyone could have predicted. And what's coming next might just change how Hollywood, and the world, sees Ryan Reynolds forever. If you're wondering how this skit connects to the movie they were promoting, you're not alone. The irony? Ryan Reynolds, of all people, was front and center in the promo push for a film where his wife was merely co-starring. By then, most people had no clue the coup had already been staged.
He blinked.
Ms. Reynolds.
Call me Blake.
Oh,
I could blow your mind, dog.
Oh, man.
It's not every day a guy gets to interview the love interest of his best friend's wife, and the guy trying to replace Ryan as a husband, and me as his best mate.
Holy
So listen, I've just got one question. What the hell are you doing messing with my best buddy's wife?
Sir, I have no idea what's...
But in hindsight, the innuendo in this skit was impossible to ignore. The contrast between Reynolds' carefully crafted nice guy persona and his cutthroat, behind-the-scenes maneuvering was becoming painfully obvious. This wasn't the Ryan everyone thought they knew. Nothing about his role in this scandal screamed superhero. On paper, the legal battle was Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni, but in reality, this was Reynolds versus Baldoni.
Blake, and she's not a victim in any of this. She's totally bratty, and we've gone through her messages as well. But I am just saying that the fact that he doesn't want to be apart from her, and now he's inserted himself into every layer of this movie.
Let's rewind to one of the key crime scenes, the star-studded New York City premiere of It Ends With Us. The cameras flashed, reporters buzzed. Blake Lively radiated confidence. And then, she dropped a bombshell no one saw coming. During a casual red carpet chat with E! News, Blake, without a second thought, casually revealed a shocking truth. The iconic rooftop scene in this movie? My husband actually wrote it. Nobody knows that, but yeah. Live, on air. She said it. Blake didn't just let slip a minor secret. She exposed a carefully concealed truth that instantly shattered the narrative she had been pushing. The same scene she had once proudly claimed as her own creative vision was, in reality, written by Ryan Reynolds. Fans were stunned. If Ryan had been behind the rooftop scene all along, why had Blake taken the credit? Why had she positioned herself as the driving force behind the project while keeping Baldoni in the dark? The backlash was immediate and brutal. Twitter, Reddit, and TikTok erupted with accusations of manipulation, deceit, and outright betrayal. Blake really had us fooled. One viral tweet read, racking up thousands of likes in hours. Ryan ghostwriting Blake's scenes without Baldoni knowing? Feels shady as hell. This wasn't creative collaboration. This was sabotage. And just when you thought Reynolds couldn't sink lower, another bombshell dropped. Rumors started swirling that Reynolds had a direct hand in Baldoni getting dropped from WME, one of Hollywood's biggest talent agencies. At first, it seemed impossible. Reynolds wouldn't go that far, would he? But then, the whispers turned into cold, hard truth. Ryan Reynolds was front and center in getting the young director booted from the most powerful agency in Hollywood. Why? Because stealing the movie wasn't enough.
Deadpool after party, Ryan went and found a William Morris Endeavor. Now, that's the biggest agency. Everybody's under them. That's the one that Justin Baldoni got dropped from. And told that executive that they were working with a sexual predator, referring to Justin Baldoni. It says, Lively, Reynolds, and other members of the film cast attended the premiere for Deadpool and Wolverine.
Ryan knew that if he could blacklist Baldoni, cripple his career, and turn the industry against him, Baldoni might be forced to do the one thing Reynolds wanted all along.
basically, I view Ryan as like an infestation. Like, that's the only way I can say it. If he wants to go after you, he infests himself into every area of your life. And he did this Justin Baldoni. He's like, who are your friends? Okay. Who owns the production company? Who owns the next movie script? I am going to infest myself everywhere. I'm going to be doing your movie premiere. I'm going to be doing promos and making fun of you. Right? I'm going to put myself in the end credits. Like, this is like psychotic behavior.
Give up the rights to the movie. And if that happened, take a second and put yourself in Justin Baldoni's shoes. You spend years pouring your soul into adapting a beloved novel. You meticulously craft each scene, each line of dialogue, shaping the story with care. Then, at your own movie premiere, you find out, along with the rest of the world, that the most talked about scene wasn't even yours. Or even Blake's, as you had been led to believe.
Lively, and she bullied him into giving her the movie where she did her own cut. They released the cut of the movie. He didn't even get to see it. He was the director of the film, the producer of the film, the guy who got the rights to the film, the one who's supposed to be in control. He didn't even get to see it. He was in the basement at his own movie premiere. And then she had the nerve, because she had 2 minutes of bad publicity when the film...
Baldoni never even got to see the final cut before the Chihuahua premiere. He had no clue what changes had been made until he sat down, watching it unfold on screen like a bystander. And those leaked text receipts? They made one thing painfully clear. Blake Lively acted like she was the mastermind behind. That rooftop scene rewrite, she championed it loudly. She pushed for it. She insisted Baldoni compromise. And when he refused to cave, she pulled the rug out from under him. In that 2023 Forbes interview, Blake had shamelessly clung to the title of creative force, painting herself as a visionary. But now, the truth was out. She hadn't even written the scene herself. She had to enlist her husband. What does that say about her dream of becoming a director? And what does that say about Ryan Reynolds' role in all of this? The fact that Ryan wrote such a pivotal scene, despite having zero official creative role in the film, was a massive betrayal.
2 minutes of bad publicity when the film hit, to come out and try to blame it all on him. None of it was just due to the fact that she seems like a rather shitty person.
The real question, how long had Reynolds been pulling Lively's strings? Looking at the bigger picture, it's not far-fetched to think that every idea she brought to Baldoni was never really hers. She was just a proxy, unknowingly or knowingly pushing Reynolds' hidden agenda.
Yeah.
Right.
Deal with a little
and
bit
she tries
of
to make it sound like a female
Ruthless.
empowerment thing, like they just wanted me to be an actor. Well, yes, I mean, maybe someday you could be a producer or a screenwriter, but no one contracted with you to do that here. And that's another.
Let's be real. Blake wasn't a producer. She wasn't a screenwriter. At best, she was a giddy messenger, parading around as a creative force while Ryan orchestrated the entire takeover from the shadows. And that's the real scandal here. This wasn't some small indie flick. It Ends With Us was one of the most anticipated book-to-film adaptations in years. Fans expected authenticity, sensitivity, and artistic integrity, especially given its heavy themes of domestic violence. Instead, what they got was a shady power grab, an actor playing director, and a husband rewriting scenes in secret. No wonder fans dragged her mercilessly. During the press tour, Blake floundered. She struggled to answer even the most basic questions about the movie's themes, almost as if she had no real grasp of them at all.
A little bit. I mean,
Okay.
it's all over the tabloids, so you got to see it a little bit. I don't know if you're an
All
expert,
over the
but-
tabloids.
yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so for those of you, just a quick two-liner for those of you not following it. They started this movie, It Ends With Us.
Instead of owning up, reflecting, or taking accountability, she did something worse. She blamed everything on Baldoni. Her claim? That he was orchestrating a smear campaign against her, but the public didn't buy it. They saw through it. Fans who once adored her now felt betrayed. And Baldoni? When he first met this seemingly wonderful celebrity couple, he had no idea he was about to be exploited in ways he couldn't even fathom. Ryan was the mastermind. Blake was the orchestrator. And together, they quietly took over his film, stripped him of authority, and forced him out of his own creation. The real question is, why?
Hire the plumber and he climbs out from under the sink and says, now let's talk about how you've decorated the place. Like, what are you talking about, man?
Yeah.
I gave you a job.
How dare they hire an actor to act,
And even more importantly, What was their endgame? Now you see why Baldoni's lawsuit isn't just plausible, it's probable. If Ryan Reynolds had been secretly writing scenes and Blake Lively had knowingly hidden that fact, imagine how many other creative decisions they hijacked. At this point, we could practically say Reynolds was the invisible director of It Ends with Us. His influence over this movie was far more extreme than anyone initially imagined. The couple's wholesome, supportive image, nothing but a facade.
But here, that's another allegation, Holmes, is that she started to rewrite scenes that nobody had asked her to rewrite.
That's just wild to me. I mean, that is for the plumber thing is absolutely perfect. I mean, you hired somebody to do a job and they're like, well, hold on a second. I've got a different vision for your toilet.
Right.
I'd like to create a bidet.
And then, in one disastrous slip of the tongue, Blake unwittingly confirmed Baldoni's most explosive claims. This wasn't gossip anymore. This was tangible proof that Reynolds had played a much larger, more insidious role behind the scenes. For Baldoni, who had endured months of media scrutiny and public skepticism, this revelation must have felt like vindication. But for Blake and Ryan, this was the beginning of an unstoppable PR nightmare. Baldoni's supporters are now hoping he can use Blake's interview with E! News as evidence of the things that were done to him behind the scenes. But will he be able to? Well, time will tell.
He's like, who are your friends? Okay. Who owns the production company? Who owns the next movie script? I am going to invest myself everywhere. I'm going to be doing your movie premiere. I'm going to be doing promos and making fun of you, right? I'm going to put myself in the end credits. Like, this is like psychotic behavior. Okay.
Now let's get into the deliciously messy details of how Ryan Reynolds desperately tried and spectacularly failed to salvage his crumbling public image. Honestly, folks, this one's juicy enough to make even the Kardashians blush. I don't know if Reynolds' PR team malfunctioned or if we should call it a full-on glitch, but his latest stunt, it backfired spectacularly. So here's what happened. Reynolds was spotted at the PY Center in New York City for an event. As he walked out, he was suddenly swarmed by a crowd of adoring fans. Sounds sweet and spontaneous, right? Except the moment was about as authentic as a $3 bill. Eagle-eyed fans on TikTok wasted no time dissecting the scene, and trust me, the details they uncovered were downright embarrassing for Reynolds. First, every single fan in this conveniently timed mob seemed to magically have the exact same shabby cardboard sign, all scribbled in eerily identical handwriting, with matching tape colors and near-identical designs. Coincidence? I think not. One TikTok user, Tanil, absolutely eviscerated the entire charade. And honestly, we're still clapping. She pointed out something painfully obvious. No one had their phones out. Yep. Let that sink in. It's 2025. When was the last time a group of fans saw a huge celebrity and didn't immediately whip out their phones? Instead, these so-called fans just happened to have perfectly crafted signs, but zero interest in recording the moment. Make it make sense. Now, to be fair, autograph hounds do frequent that exact spot often, but that doesn't mean the entire scene wasn't orchestrated. After all, even Meghan Markle has been accused of staging her own paparazzi moments before.
Autograph hounds, but that's also a tactic that celebrities use to fake a scene. Meghan Markle has been caught doing that several times right before she was meeting Prince Harry, that they just happen to be there with pictures of her from Suits. It's like, come on, girl, clearly someone tipped off the paparazzi.
So, was this just another manufactured PR stunt? Breakdown summed it up perfectly, saying it's virtually impossible that all these people randomly bumped into Reynolds carrying identical signs with no phones out recording. And let's be real, celebrities calling paparazzi on themselves isn't exactly new. But this move by Ryan, this was next-level desperation. Not only was it embarrassing, it was humiliating. It exposed just how far Reynolds is willing to go to maintain his public image. And the tea doesn't end there.
Now, what's interesting as we all look at the reactions, what's happening, people are looking back, and it looks like Ryan really is scrambling to put up that all is well, nice guy persona, because this came in from a TikToker. This was an Instagram originally. This theory came in.
PR expert Emily Austin, who has seen every kind of celebrity image meltdown in her career, chimed in with a brutally honest assessment, and it was absolutely damning. According to Austin, Reynolds' random fan encounter was nothing more than a calculated PR stunt deliberately staged to distract from the relentless backlash over his involvement in Blake Lively's messy feud with Justin Baldoni. In other words, Ryan knew exactly what he was doing. He manipulated the media in an attempt to shift the public's focus. Instead of people talking about how he hijacked Baldoni's film, he wanted them talking about Ryan Reynolds, the beloved, charming actor. But here's where it gets really messy.
Shout out to Tanel. Highlighted how all the homemade posters looked incredibly similar, having made out of the same cardboard, colorful tape, the blue tape. Why does everyone have the same sign, the exact same pens? Everybody's sign looks like it was made by the same 5-year-old. You're telling me that these people randomly went out, bumped into Ryan Reynolds, and all happened to have the exact same random signs? Now, to be fair, like I said, autograph hounds do come.
Instead of saving his reputation, this stunt blew up in his face, spectacularly. Instead of distracting the public, it made him a laughingstock. Social media exploded with memes and mockery, questioning how Hollywood's supposedly most authentic nice guy could stoop this low, staging fake fan mobs just to cling on to his dwindling popularity, and it gets worse. Emily Austin pointed out another awkward reality. These staged photos weren't just about salvaging Reynolds' image. They were a desperate ploy to create positive press ahead of Blake and Justin's looming courtroom showdown. Austin explained that such obviously fabricated appearances only highlighted Reynolds' panic. His once flawless public image was crumbling, and he was scrambling to fix it. Reynolds, who built an entire career on being relatable, funny, and genuine, had now been publicly exposed for being calculating, insincere, and shockingly manipulative.
Of these items, he knows better, but he knows this is a good photo op. But no, users notice this. The phones, yes, no one's asking for photos or themselves with him. You're right, I didn't even pay attention to the effing tape, and now I believe this is all staged. It's so hard to watch.
So, now the real question is, how much lower can he go? Because at this rate, the fall from grace is only getting steeper. Some observers are taking a more measured approach to the situation. While it's unlikely that the paparazzi presence was purely coincidental, they suggest it could have been a simple PR strategy to present Ryan Reynolds in a positive light. However,
typically, celebrities avoid them. You can pretty much know who the hounds are. And so the fact that Ryan's humoring it all and assuming that these people are all just exact fans that came with boxes of these items, he knows better, but he knows this is a good photo op. But no,
that doesn't make the situation any less awkward or any less damaging to his public image. Reynolds, known for his charm and seemingly effortless humor, now finds himself at the center of a controversy that feels oddly calculated. His attempt to orchestrate a spontaneous fan interaction came off as anything but authentic, and instead of repairing his image, it only fueled further speculation about his motivations. The internet wasted no time dissecting the moment. TikTok. User Tanil questioned whether the crowd was staged, pointing out the uniformity of the signs and the noticeable absence of smartphones.
But this has now been widely shared. Here is his response.
I made the posters for the Ryan Reynolds fake paparazzi shoot, and let me explain. About a week ago, my boss asked me to help on his kids' arts and craft project. Me, being a good employee, I was like, of course I'll help your kids. And then he handed me a bunch of blue tape and the same exact marker and the same size cardboard and the same photo, and said, hey, I need you to make 25 of the same poster boards. And me wanting to go above and beyond, I was like, well, wouldn't your kids like variety for this project? Like, wouldn't they want a couple different options? He said, no, let's do the same because my kids are idiots and no one will be able to tell the difference. I thought that was weird, but he's my boss. So fast forward to now, I'm seeing all these videos like, it wasn't for his kids' arts and crafts project. Now,
the skepticism only grew when a social media user named Bennett claimed he was responsible for making the or signs, though whether his claim is legitimate remains uncertain. If true, it would suggest a surprisingly sloppy move for a PR team as seasoned as Reynolds. If false, it's simply another layer of chaos in an already messy situation. Regardless, the damage is done. Reynolds, once beloved for his authenticity, is now facing scrutiny over whether that persona was ever real. The backlash has led some to wonder.
And just joining in at the sort of ridiculousness of it all. I can't find anything to confirm or deny. He did do an article with the Daily Mail. Even his comments are kind of sarcastic. It's about the blue tape was dead giveaway. It's sold out everywhere. Is your boss Taylor Swift? This is me trying. Like, he's literally out there just sort of chiming in. Why would I lie about cardboard? Venmo me.
Has he always been this calculated, or was he pushed into damage control mode by Blake Lively's legal battle with Justin Baldoni? Either way, the situation has cast a long shadow over his reputation. Meanwhile, Baldoni continues to fight back. The lawsuit brought against him by Lively was not meant to be taken lightly. With a high-powered legal team, a strong PR machine, and deep connections, Lively and Reynolds are a force to be reckoned with. Many in Hollywood wouldn't have been able to withstand such pressure, but Baldoni has remained steadfast. Despite suffering significant reputational damage,
these moments. Now, to be fair, he might not. His team could be doing it. And also, to be fair, groups like Autograph Hounds could have gotten the word, and they, 5 of them show up with 2 of these in each hand, trying to get these, and that's what you're really looking at and why they're all covering that sort of same thing.
He refuses to back down, a sign that he believes he has the evidence to support his claims. For Reynolds, maintaining his public image is crucial. As a major Hollywood figure, he cannot afford for audiences to perceive him as vulnerable or affected by the controversy.
But he's out there putting on a brave face, putting on a good face, saying, yep, see, we're good. Everything's fine. And look, this is obviously done on purpose to elicit, we're not bothered. We're living our life. Don't bother us. And honestly, it's a good move on his part to do. You can be.
His response? Continuing to post on social media, cracking jokes, and engaging in philanthropy. Classic PR tactics designed to shift the narrative. But this battle is far from over. With neither side willing to settle, it's clear that both still have strategies in play. For now, Baldoni appears to have gained the upper hand, but in an industry where influence and connections can shift the tide overnight, the final outcome remains uncertain. One thing is clear: neither side is backing down, and the public is watching closely to see who will emerge victorious.